My name is Mark Fox, Chairman of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation.
And we are here today in Mandaree, North Dakota. Actually, it wouldn't be North Dakota, it'd be the Fort Berthold Indian Reservation.
It's the Fort Berthold Indian Reservation, but it is located in Mandaree, North Dakota, and that's what's recognized as well.
And Mark Fox, what is it that you are officially the title of your leadership role here?
Well, I'm the chairman. I'm the elected chairman of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. Fort Berthold is about a 1 million acre reservation, half of that held in trust by the federal government. I lead a council of about 7 members, 6 districts, 1 representative from each district, and I'm elected at large, and that's my job.
Talk to me about your relationship with the oil and gas community. Judging by what I witnessed today, it seems like you have a very good relationship.
You know, we have I just have to be candid about it. We have a very good relationship with a number of oil industry partners, but of course, we live in the real world, which sometimes you don't get those good partnerships with all of them. But nevertheless, today we're celebrating a very positive relationship with one of the primary midstream companies on Fort Berthold, and that's the Crestwood Company.
One of the things that I've talked with Missouri River Resources CEO David Williams about is there's a unique time happening right now in the Native American community with connection with the oil, to where the investments like we're seeing today with Crestwood, with the $2 million building here, the Head Start, it's empowering. It's empowering the communities, not just lifting them. It's empowering generations. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. This whole thing with our choice as of a nation to develop our energy resources. That's not a given across Indian country. There are a number of tribes who don't endorse or who don't support energy development of their own resources. Ours does. Our nation, the allotted portions to individuals as well as the tribe as a whole, we do support development of oil and gas, one of our resources here. But it's really about benefit as well. So about 80% of our people are not significant beneficiaries of oil and gas. 80%. They don't get monthly royalty checks from an oil company. They don't have mineral resources. So they rely on what the tribe does. And so if the tribe has taken the resources collectively on their behalf, and we're managing it with jobs, economic opportunity, revenue, we take those things and we build what I said, tangible benefits. When they see infrastructure in the ground, they see programs, educational, medical, health insurance, all these different things. When those individuals in particular who don't stand to benefit directly from oil and gas realize that they benefit as a whole, as a part of the whole, then it sells well in the endorsement of our people.
One of the things that caught my attention was on our programs we talk about the energy investment into communities. That was mentioned today, but then there was the caveat that you didn't let the other energy companies off the hook that we're not investing in their communities. We have a lot of energy enthusiasts and executives that listen to these programs. What kind of message do you want to be left with for those who do not invest in the communities? Because like what Crestwood is doing today is tremendous. You guys were very grateful for their investment, but you're not letting everyone else off the hook.
Agreed. We can't. And that's the way business is done, not only in the United States, but around the world. Companies come in and they reap a benefit, right? They reap a benefit by interacting on development of a resource. And so for our situation here, we've got, like I said, some companies like Crestwood. Today we're celebrating millions of dollars investment into something that doesn't necessarily mean a direct benefit back to how they operate, but in general shows their investment into the community, shows their investment into the public and into what goes on there. And so, but we have a number of companies who do not. And it's just been so tough working and coordinating with some of them to say, if you want to be part of what we've got going on here. If you want to have a vision of long-term economic benefit, you need to interact and you need to do those types of things, because that's what we're forced to do as tribal governments. As a tribal government, we have to take those revenues that we realize and benefit, and we create that benefit. So without that in place, it's really difficult. If it's just one side's doing it and the other is not, it's hard to build things. And these are multi-million-dollar projects. So oftentimes you see the tribe having to phase things out, maybe 1, 2, and 3 year phases, because as much as people might think there's an endless supply of revenue here, we've done well as far as revenue, but it's not what people sometimes imagine. So the resources are still limited, but we're trying to build that infrastructure. So the message today you heard, and you always hear me, whether it's in Bismarck, North Dakota, or Washington, D.C., put up or shut up. Or more likely, if you're just here to make a quick buck and to flip that, well, why don't you flip it today and allow us to work with somebody who's more willing to invest into the community, is more long-term thinking, and that's how we positively benefit.
So on the flip side of that, we're here today celebrating a building dedication, a Head Start building dedication. The symbolism behind that's tremendous, to start with the pre-K, the youth. Talk to me about the investment that Crestwood has made in the community and how the community has responded.
I think that the community has responded really well. You see that today, and I think you're going to see great appreciation continue to grow. As the children come here in August, a little later part of August, and all the families who may not be able to stand here today, they're going to be standing around, they're going to come in and say, wow, this is nice, my child is happy, they're learning things. You're going to see that support and that enthusiasm grow. And so, I don't want to ever take that for granted. What Crestwood has done here has really been significant, and I want to mention that it's no small thing. And our nation, because we're always struggling to do things and build things. When you get a company like Crestwood who comes in and says, we understand you've got so much to build, you have so many things that need to be fixed, so to speak, things that need to be developed. When they come in and say, we're going to help you with that, it's tremendous. It's tremendous. So,
quite a few dignitaries showed up. This seems like a pretty big deal for a town of, how big's Mandaree?
Well, right here by community members, there's less than 1,000 people here.
I was going to say 300, but sorry, I didn't.
There's more.
Okay.
I think the population is between 600 and 700 people.
Okay.
If you outlying areas.
It's spread out a little bit. Yeah.
It's spread out a little bit, but that it's less than 1,000, and so it's a small community, a tight knit community. But at the same time, it's one that's in the heart of the Bakken. And I brought this up a year ago and a half a year ago. What Mandaree is today is obviously changed from what it was 10 years ago. But where Mandaree will be 10 and 20 years from now is really significant. And we can't make the mistake of thinking that, well, maybe it grows, maybe it don't. We'll just go one day at a time. I believe that there's going to be continued growth. And if there's going to be continued growth, which I believe there is, and I think most do, then you got to put the supporting infrastructure in place as well. Education, fire protection. We're going to be building a brand new fire hall and emergency response center as well. All these things that you see in bigger cities, we've got to put them in the ground and then expand out. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't do any sense to bring 1,000 more people in or thousands after this with houses and what have you, but not have the infrastructure. We've got to have that first.
Final thoughts here. I like to leave interviews so the guests can take it whatever direction they want, so it's not framed by me. So if you want to reiterate something, or we left something out, or kind of the floor is yours, sir.
I appreciate that. I think the most significant thing here is, when people, listen to tribes and tribal nations talk about their plights and how they, trying to develop and trying to undo things that have been done to tribal nations for the last 100 years in failed U.S. policy. We all know that most reservations suffer economically, socially, and by medical, disproportionate effects on our population. We suffer greatly on a reservation. And now you have this reservation taking its resources, valuable resources, and trying to build something and address that. But what we have here today is this Head Start, this preschool institution that we have partnered with an oil company on. That's going to make all the difference. As I was saying outside, the big difference is with our children. you know, if you want to talk about changing a nation, our tribal nation, you want changing our economy, changing how we live, changing this social economic poverty that many tribes dwell in, you have to start with the young people. That's where it starts. As adults, we can, you know, mull our way through things at times, you know, and survive. But if you're really talking to make effective, long-term, positive change, it starts with the little ones, and that's what we're celebrating today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.